Hey, what's up? It's Mike from Ed Raven Woodworks. We're going to be making a crosscut sled. I use the crosscut sled in about every project I do. I make a lot of small stuff. It's really handy. It's really accurate. You can cut, any size piece. Medium pieces, big pieces might be hard, but it's really good for really small pieces because it's a very safe way to do it. You can use clamps and stuff since you have this fence in the back. So we're going to make a quick and dirty version. I'm going to show you how I do what I do. This is the back panel. I already cut the rails and attached them. Let me tell you how I did that. I took a piece of 3/4 inch oak. I used hardwood because softwood probably won't last long. And I ran them through the table saw and cut them strips down to the exact width of these slots. You don't want this to be too wiggly because that means that your cut's gonna be off. You want these to fit nice, not too nice. You know, you don't have to want to force them in there. After I cut them on the table saw, I sent it over to the planer and milled it just below the surface of this table. Because this is going to elevate up onto the sled. That way it doesn't rub against the bottom and you get less friction. Once you have the rails cut to the right size, not too tight, not too loose, it's just below the surface. What you're going to want to do is stack pennies or washers up the length of the slot to slightly elevate your rail above the surface of the table saw. Once you have that done on both of them, get some super glue or some wood glue if you're a patient man, and you're going to want to put a bead up the length of it, and then put your panel wherever you want on top of it. If you want it in the middle, just right there. It's not important that this is square yet. The fence is going to take care of that. Put something heavy on it whenever it's drying. Once that's done, I countersink screws down the length of it just to make it more permanent. And you're caught up with me. Drop your sled in and make sure that that goes front and back. You don't want it to be too loose. You want it to be a little bit tight because if it is a little loose, you're probably going to get a side-to-side wobble. You'll be able to hear it or see it, and this one looks pretty good. But if it doesn't look pretty good, just hand sand these rails, make them a little bit thinner wherever it's binding. You can feel it's binding up. Drop the panel in again. You're confident the rails are smooth, everything's working fine, nothing's wobbly. We're gonna make a cut all the way down the length. You're gonna stop about 2 inches from the end. We need these panels to stay together. I didn't use a 2x4 because I didn't have any 2x4s, so I ripped a 2x6 down to 4 inches, which is a little bit bigger than 3.5 inches. Height's not going to kill you, it's going to add a little strength, and I did this just in case I ever have to do thicker material. So, right off the bat, you should probably joint 2 sides of these to get a square corner. If you don't have a jointer, then that's obviously not an option. And what you'll want to do is make sure that your table saw cut straight 90 degrees. That should be perfectly perpendicular to this flat table saw surface. Also, you want to check that with a straight edge, make sure that fence looks straight close to the bottom. Looks good. All right. So my cut line is 10 inches from this side. We're going to want to do about 3 inches on both sides of that. So we're going to remember that at 7 and 13 inches, 7 and 13 inches, the fence will be taller. Let's see, I'm going to make this fence only 2 inches tall. No, I'm going to make this fence 1 3/4 inch tall. It's not real important that it's real accurate. This side really means nothing. We're gonna wanna draw a little curve, nice little hand spot there. Draw a little curve, make it look all pretty, make it a little more comfortable. So now we have this drawn out. We're gonna cut that on the jigsaw or the bandsaw. Then we're going to trace that shape onto this one and repeat the process all over again. So we have I mean, you don't have to cut this one out. I'm going to do it just to make it look a little better. The ones I've been making kind of look like crap. So you got these all sanded up, rounded over, whatever you want to do. Make sure you chamfer the edge of the front fence because you need a little dust pocket. so your pieces don't get skewed by the little dust that's sitting on there. Line this one up, not totally on the edge. It's not a big deal. We're gonna slide it all this way. So you clamp those down, not totally on the edge. Make sure your fence is square. That looks good. We're gonna put one hole over on this end. And then we're gonna countersink it so it doesn't screw with the rest of the table. And we're gonna drive one screw up in there. Clamp off. This is where the fun part begins. I have a ruler wedged in the cut with screws. That's going to give me a reference for my framing square. And then I have this piece just because the chamfer might be a little off because I didn't do it with a router. So let's see where we're at here. Okay, I need to go forward. Alright, that's as good as I think I'm going to get it. I'm going to clamp that down. And drill and countersink just like I did the other side. So I'm going to take all this stuff off of here. We got our front fence. We're not going to make this permanent. We will drive more screws in here later, but we want to make sure it's accurate first. So in order to do that, we're going to put the back fence on, and then we're going to test it to see how close it is. Alright, so the back fence, you will never use this. This is just for stability. So it doesn't really matter if it's straight or anything or square or anything. So just start drilling, countersinking, and screwing this in. Take these clamps off and let's see how we did. So this is the 5-cut method. We're going to make a cut up here, and then we're going to turn that to this face, and then we're going to keep going all the way around, and then at the end we're going to make a cut off the side, and the width of this piece on both ends is going to tell us how accurate our fence is. So let's do that. So this is pretty good. This side, oh shit, I'm crap. This side is the 32nd of an inch smaller than this side, and that is over the course of 39 inches. So basically at 6.5 feet, we're off a 1/16 of an inch, which isn't bad. You're probably gonna want to do better. Just take the screw out, adjust the fence accordingly, do some trial and error, and once you're satisfied, well, always make sure you use a new hole when you're adjusting the fence, because if you use the same one, it's going to slip back in, and then you're going to have the same problem. But yeah, once you're done, fasten the whole thing down with some more screws, give it some more support, and you should be good to go. I hope you learned something. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe, and I'm going to go enjoy my Crosscut Sled. I'll see you guys later. Peace.